We're joined by Tristan Edis, the editor of Climate Spectator. Tristan has spent over a decade working on climate change and energy policy in business, government and the media. Tristan, welcome to The Drum.
Thanks, Steve.
Is this target announced today by Bill Shorten achievable?
Yeah, look, I think it is. If it was coupled with a combination of energy efficiency measures, what we're looking at in terms of the amount of the installation rate of renewable capacity each year is not far off what we have actually already achieved in the past and what we're expected to do in the next few years to achieve the current government policy.
So how would you get there, and what would the cost be to government?
Look, well, the cost to government, it's not a taxpayer-funded scheme. It's a cross-subsidy from your electricity bills. So it won't cost the government anything, but it will cost a combination of electricity consumers and electricity generators a sum of money, and not an inconsiderable amount of money. But in terms of how it would flow through to your electricity bill, you're looking at a few dollars per week. It would be less than what you're likely to see under the, or did see under the carbon price, which was about $150 for the year. So you're looking at something that should be less than that.
But if that's the case, doesn't that allow the coalition to argue that electricity bills will be cheaper under them?
Potentially. I mean, it depends on, do you care about your children's future or not, and are you willing to pay an extra few dollars on your electricity bill per month? So, look, it's up to the Labor Party whether they can effectively argue that point to consumers. I don't think they did a particularly good job last time around, and in fact, they tried to avoid the argument entirely. And in the end, I don't think consumers are actually in a number of cases paying more on their electricity bills now than what they did in June when the carbon price was in place. But no one seems to be talking very much about the fact that there is no savings at all on some people's electricity bills, and so there's room there to improve their ability to execute an argument.
Now, increasing the renewable energy target is not the only answer to decarbonising the economy. For example, it doesn't help you replace dirty fossil fuels with cleaner fossil fuels, does it? It doesn't help you convert from, say, brown coal to black coal.
Well, no. I mean, at the end of the day, it replaces it entirely. So, yes, it does displace existing fossil fuel generators in the electricity sector, but obviously it doesn't do anything to reduce your consumption of oil out of your car, unless you're going to electrify your car and go for a fully electric car, of course, but that's probably not going to happen relatively soon. And it doesn't do anything, say, to replace the use of natural gas in your home or the use of gas in industry. So there's plenty of other areas where there are emissions outside of the electricity sector that we're going to have to reduce.
Tom?
Bill Shorten's old union, the AWU, the leader who succeeded Bill, Paul House, said that if the carbon tax cost a single job, then the AWU wouldn't support it. Obviously, the spectre of massive job losses is there if we go to a 50% renewable energy target. What's your sense of where the jobs would come in the clean energy sector? I mean, this is something that you obviously watch, and obviously the industry talks up its potential, but what's your read on the employment aspects of this?
Well, firstly, Tom, not many people are employed in electricity generators, so you actually wouldn't see too many jobs lost out of this scheme, because you go to the average coal-fired power station and you'll find that most of it is automated and involves very high levels of machinery. So you don't actually lose that many jobs out of it. At the same time, obviously, I'm not going to pretend that you're going to have some huge job boom on the other side of things either, because a wind farm doesn't need a lot of people to run it either. But you would see an increase in the number of people employed in installing solar panels. So, for example, I think there's more people employed, or there was about 2 years ago, in the solar installation sector, or about the same as there was in the whole power generation sector. So if you could maintain that kind of level of employment, it's since dropped off in the last 2 years, then obviously that's jobs that replace the ones that you've lost. And the same with wind. So it'd be mainly construction and electrical installation jobs that would be created out of this target.
Annabelle?
It's Annabelle here. Hello. You know, ever since both parties agreed on the renewable energy target while Labor was in government, you've had huge fluctuations in this sector, haven't you? Like price and demand surges and crashes. How is this a reliable area in which to put so much of Australia's energy needs?
Yeah, look, it's been subject to an incredible amount of volatility because it is it's a government-created scheme at the end of the day, and politics is volatile, I think, is the challenge. But nonetheless, Annabelle, we have seen billions of dollars worth of investment go into renewable energy projects, and also households, for that matter, have invested in the realm of several $billion in their solar systems. So I suppose there's a huge amount of volatility, but nonetheless, people are willing to put their hard cash down in spite of that. So I suppose it's a matter of finding some stability, and I think there is a real problem because at the moment we do have such a huge disconnect between the two parties on this policy. So that does create some risks and challenges down the track. Where
are the big areas of growth in this sector, do you reckon? I mean, like you've got Mark Butler on radio this morning saying, look, there's technology that we don't even know about yet and so on. You've got Tony Abbott's government making some enforced changes to our investment scheme, trying to direct it into more innovative technologies. What's the bolter, do you reckon, in the next decade or two?
I don't pretend to know, Annabelle.
And if you did, you'd be out speculating on it, presumably, rather than editing a magazine about it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Look, a lot of people are talking about battery systems. Now, obviously, they're not directly supported through the renewable energy target, but the more people that have solar systems on their roofs, the greater the potential there, or the value that they could get by using a battery instead of buying their power from the grid. So
makes those poles and wires worth a bit less, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's really where the huge disconnect could be. Is if a number of the analysts are correct about battery prices, then the poles and wires businesses are in serious trouble. Not as in that they won't be needed anymore, more that the amount of revenue and the prices they can charge customers have to drop. Right. They're suddenly going to be in competition.